Amigos, your relationship needs support. And when I think back to the beginning years of my marriage, where my husband and I were having the most amount of arguments and the least amount of sex, we needed help overcoming the number one issue in our relationship. And to do that, we needed to do something radically different than what we were already trying. You see, even dramatically different than what the generations before us were doing. And that support came in the form of marriage therapy. Marriage therapy was the game changer for my relationship. It allowed my partner and I to finally take a step back and have somebody else walk us through what was actually going on. And eventually we realized that most of the issues that we had with each other had actually nothing to do with the other person, but more so to do with our own unhealed trauma and our own things that we hadn't taken the time to process, but somehow was still showing up in our marriage. And that's why I love BetterHelp. You see, BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a large range of issues. To get started, you just have to answer a couple of questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however way you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or even a video call. You can even message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can totally switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from an in-office therapy, but with a therapist that is custom picked just for you. More scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp by going to my link, betterhelp.com/KarinaFDaves. That's BetterHelp, BETTER, help.com/Karina, F as in Frank, Daves. The link to this coupon is right here in my show notes. Amigos, at this point, you've tried it all in your relationship and nothing is working. You don't have anything to lose by asking for the support you know you need in the form of therapy. And what a better way to do that than with BetterHelp. Coming up on the Relationships You Understand podcast. If you don't go on girls' trips, you will lose yourself. If you don't have community, you will lose yourself. If you don't give your mind, body, and soul an opportunity to reset, release, rediscover, refresh, you will lose who you are. You will become off course to the plan that God has for you. You understand me? Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Karina F. Daves, relationship coach and speaker, where I help women stop arguing with their partners so that they can have more sex. Because who doesn't want to have more sex? One of the biggest things that women struggle with is a lack of satisfaction in their relationship. It's our best kept secret, and I know this because it used to be me. You see, I was a checklist human obsessed with the many achievements we're pressed to accomplish. Getting degrees, getting married, having children, buying a home. And after all it was achieved, I still felt empty inside. And so I looked to my partner to fulfill me. And this is when the arguing started in my marriage. It wasn't until I stopped blaming my marriage and finally decided to take a deeper look into myself, to work on my own need for control, my perfectionism, and to work on my own unhealed trauma, that I realized in order for my marriage to be better, it required a better me. Join me each week where I will be your personal relationship expert, coaching you through unpacking and processing your identity, values, and standards to resolve the number one conflict in your relationship, because a better relationship begins with a better you. Whether you're deep in your marriage or on the road to one, I will help you reflect on who you are, both in your partnership and outside of it. I know so many of us are struggling with this in such a private way, but believe me, a better relationship is possible, but it also starts with you. Are you willing to do the work? Welcome to Relationships You Understand? If you're loving this podcast and enjoying the juicy relationship gems, then head over to follow me on my socials at Karina F. Daves on Instagram and TikTok. Head over to my website, karinafdaves.com, and subscribe to my newsletter, Release Your Relationship, where I share weekly relationship advice on how to overcome the number one issue in your relationship. If you're really enjoying this podcast, don't forget to leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or even Spotify. Subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode, and share it with all of your amigos. Reviews are such a personal way to hear your voice and interact with our community. Thanks so much for listening. And now, the Relationships You Understand podcast. Amigos, ¿cómo están? Welcome back to Relationships You Understand as we start this series called Girls Trips Saved My Marriage. This will be part one. It'll be a two-part series, and my name is Karina F. Daves, podcast host, relationship expert, and speaker. And as you know, these episodes are always super quick because I know you don't have a lot of time, and neither do I. Happy 4th of July for those watching this episode being recorded live. I hope that y'all enjoy this holiday. And I just want to thank you so much for continually coming back, indulging, and being committed to this community. It means so much to me. And listen, if you're up for chatting, if you have questions about your relationship, I want you to DM them to me, as I will spend some of the time of my podcast answering them. Okay? All right, here we go. Girls Trips Saved My Marriage. So today I'm going to share with you part of my secret sauce of keeping my marriage interesting, keeping my marriage adventurous, and still fun. Girls Trips are a part of that recipe. Okay. When I think of girls trips, I have to go way back into the archives to my very first girl trip that I remember taking in college. It was about 15 or 17 of us that went to Miami. All of us that took JetBlue for like $200 to Miami during spring break in college. I was one of them. And why we decided to fit 8 people into a clearly 3-bedroom apartment, I have no idea. But I remember feeling this intense sense of joy being around other women that shared very similar values. And sure, this was before I was saved. And so there was a lot of clubbing and alcohol and tanning topless and eating a lot and possibly doing a lot of things that I wouldn't do now. But I remember just feeling so happy, so good. I remember feeling being around such good energy, such good women, and feeling like when I came back to college, I was re-energized to go back, and felt like this very much big boost of energy to finish to finish what I had started, right? Like to the finish line that I so desperately didn't even know I needed. And this happened a couple of times while I was in graduate school and whatnot. Now, when I got married in 2012, I remember not getting invited to girls' trips that my inner circle was having. And I didn't have that many. It was probably like maybe 3 or 4 people in my inner circle. And I remember approaching them about it, and them sharing very honestly that since I was married, they really didn't think that I would want to attend, or really didn't want to put me in an awkward position to have to decide whether I leave my marriage or go on these girls' trips. And I had to make it clear that I totally wanted to attend the girls' trips. Like I craved it, and I saw it as something essential of things that I needed to do. And so then I remember saying to them, like, having brunch on Sundays or seeing y'all once a month isn't enough for me. Like, I still very much need my community. And ever since then, it got cleared up, and we decided to continue going on our girls' trips. And so I would say that girls' trips became a significant recipe in my marriage, where we go on our couples trips once a year. We do our family get togethers once a year. My husband goes on a guys trip once a year, and I do my annual girls trips. I actually have my annual girls trips coming up this August, which I'm so freaking excited about. And usually when I do these girls trips, we have business to attend. So this will be the first girls trips where we don't actually have to do anything business or, a conference to attend otherwise. So when I discovered that girls' trips were essential to my marriage, I want you to understand a couple of things about girls' trips. And so I'm going to break them down to why they're important into 3 R's. But before I do, I want to preface this by saying that girls' trips are only vital. Girls' trips are only essential. Girls' trips are only necessary if they are with sober minded people. You understand me? They have to be with the right people that align with your values, that align with what it is that you feel like God is calling you to do, that align with your values in your marriage. The people that you spend this time with, okay, have to be sober minded, have to also pour into you. And I will spend a little bit of the next episode or even the end of this episode kind of breaking that down for you. But first, I care about you. Okay. And I want to remind you why girls' trips are essential. And these are the 3 R's that I want you to think about and what they did for me and what I know that they're going to do for you. Number one, girls' trips resurface emotions that you haven't had time to process yet. Number two, girls' trips help you rediscover who you are. And number three, girls' trips help you reset and re energize for your marriage again. This is why it's so important to go on girls' trips if you're in a relationship, okay? When we talk about resurfacing emotions that, need to be processed again, I want you to understand that there are so many emotions inside of you that you have used things like work, business, money, food, whatever it is to numb your true feelings about this. You've pushed these emotions down to the bottom so that you don't have to deal with them. You understand? You may even feel like there are people around you that you can't even talk to about these things because they may not understand you the way that your inner crew does. You understand? And so you need someone that is going to brainstorm with you, hold a safe space for you, and give you a plan on how to move forward. I need you to see girls' trips as free group therapy. You understand me? Literally, it's an opportunity for everybody to come forth and come forward with the very things that they've pushed down and allow it to come out. You need girls' trips, okay? They are essential for you to release things that you necessarily don't have the opportunity or don't manage well on your everyday life. Girls trips allows you the safe space to not just release that, but tell your brain and your emotions, dang, like we can't continue to keep things bottled up anymore. You understand me? Hola, amiga. Here's the thing. You've mastered everything else in your life but your relationship. You and your partner are not as intimate as you used to be. You are both stuck in this awful cycle of arguing that starts with bickering and ends with your routine blowups every few months. Every single time that you bring up an issue looking to resolve it, they feel like you're complaining, and then you begin to distance yourself. You feel like you're living with a roommate rather than your life partner. Your relationship, amiga, needs comprehension. Comprehension allows you and your partner to forgive each other quicker. Comprehension allows you and your partner to prioritize each other again. Comprehension is the very thing that will allow you both to give each other the space you need during those blowups. It stops the cycle of arguing. In my private one-on-one coaching program, I help women just like you come up with the exact communication strategies to begin to comprehend their partners and have their partners comprehend them. I will tell you the issues about your relationship that will take your couples therapist 6 months to tell you in just the very first session. It only takes one person in the relationship to do the work for there to be any progress. Either way, you will grow, and that is what is important. Through a mixture of one-on-one coaching, relationship framework, and plenty of aha moments, you'll finally be able to understand your triggers more deeply and decrease the time you spend arguing with your partner. You'll become more of an active listener versus being offended all the time. I want to help you stop arguing on the way to date night and actually have energy for post-date night activities, if you know what I mean. I'm on a mission to show women like you how to talk to their partners in a way that moves the needle for your relationship rather than leaving you stuck in this toxic cycle of arguing. I know many of us are struggling with this in such a private way, but believe me, a better relationship is possible, but it begins with you. So let's work together. I want to help you. Go to the link in the podcast notes to book a sales call where we'll talk about everything that's happened so far, what you've tried, and how I can help. I can't wait to work with you to get you and your partner to stop arguing and have more sex. I can't wait to meet you. Okay. Number two, girls trips helps you rediscover who you are because let me just repeat that. Girls trips will help you rediscover who you are because you will get caught up in the business owner role. You will get caught up in the employee 9 to 5 role. You will get caught up in the mom role. You will get caught up in the wife role. You will get caught up in the sister role, the daughter role, the taxi driver role. You will get caught up in all of these roles in your life and figure out or tell yourselves that none of this is a problem, right? And I'm saying to you, like, it isn't, right? All of these roles that you have in your life are not a problem. But the fact that you use them to numb so many things that you need to rediscover about yourself, or you use them to numb so many things that you need to process about yourself, is the problem. I need you to utilize girls' trips as a form to rediscover who you are and who you want to be. You need that. You cannot just continue to ignore who you are at your core. Okay. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this very heavily. I usually say lightly. If you don't go on girls' trips, you will lose yourself. If you don't have community, you will lose yourself. If you don't give your mind, body, and soul an opportunity to reset, release, rediscover, refresh, you will lose who you are. You will become off course to the plan that God has for you. You understand me? You will wake up one day, just as even your parents did. You will wake up one day, once the kids have moved out, once you've been at that job for over a decade and they gave you a fancy watch for being there for 10 years. You will look to your left and you will look to your right. And then you will look in the mirror and you will not recognize who you see. And Girls Trip is a form of medicine to give to yourself to be able to continue the course of knowing who you are, what you want, and how you want it. You understand me? Because you will never know how far gone you are if you don't have opportunities to slow down, reset, and have people tell you about yourself that you trust. Okay? Okay. Like I said, that wasn't me, that was the Holy Spirit. Number 3, reset and re-energize. When you give your body the opportunity to reset, your mind to reset, the actions that you were about to take will either become confirmed or you will receive another strategy. I can't tell you how many times I'm on girls' trips and I'm just talking away like, yeah, I was thinking about doing this and this and this. And because I trust the people that I'm on this trip with, and because they know that they can share things with me, they'll offer things like, hey, can I offer something? And I'll say, sure. I don't know if that's the best way, or actually, you go, girl. You continue doing that. It's confirmation. You understand? God uses people as confirmation. So why wouldn't you take the time to reset and re-energize? All of this is going to give you is energy to come back to your life, to your family, to your goals, all of the above. Okay? It's going to basically tell yourself, dang, I don't really like this about myself. Dang, I don't really like this about my marriage. Dang, I don't really like this about the way that I'm managing my life, my friends, my job. Okay. You need to be on the other side to even tell you how to manage what's going on in your everyday life. Also, the biggest revelation that you will have, as well as things that you feel like need to change, is you will also have the revelation of, dang, I'm really grateful for my life. Because believe it or not, nobody's going to tell you this thing. You're going to be on this girl's trip and somebody going to say something that's like, dang, they going through that. Well, I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm in my situation. Like, I know that God will bless them. They're going to get through this storm, but praise God for my situation. You need that. It's not being judgy. It's God showing you like you're good. Because sometimes you're so locked up in your situation, thinking to yourself, like, I'm struggling, I'm struggling. And then you go around your girls and you realize, I'm not really struggling. Things are actually okay. I've had that revelation many of times. I'm telling you, no relationship expert is going to tell you about this. No relationship expert is going to tell you, go be around people so that you can feel better about your life. Okay. It's the truth. I'm always transparent and honest with you. It's happened to me several times where I'm like, I just wish my husband did this. And then I go around people and people that I love, and I'm like, dang, I don't want to be in that situation. Maybe I should really stop fronting and stop, annoying my husband about this thing that really doesn't matter. I'll never forget, there was this season where I was pushing my husband to listen to NPR more, to listen to the news so that we could have a conversation. And I rode that for about a couple of months. It was annoying. Now looking back, Karina, you were annoying. Okay. Let your husband be. And then I remember going on a girls' trip and hearing stories about other people's relationships, being like, I'm I'm dumb. I'm dumb for trying to push my partner, you know, in this direction when it's not even that serious, because the man loves me, he's committed to God, he's committed to this relationship, and he's a good guy. If he don't want to listen to NPR, that's his business. He gonna be fine. We gonna be fine if he don't listen to NPR. You understand? So what I want you to take away from this podcast episode is the 3 R's, okay? Girls trips are going to save your marriage. You understand me? They're going to give you an opportunity to rediscover things about yourself that you haven't in a while. They're going to give you the opportunity to reset and re-energize, and they're going to give you the opportunity to resurface emotions that you haven't processed yet. Okay. And if you're sitting here listening and thinking like, girls trips are dangerous to my marriage, all right, I'll say that again. If you're sitting here thinking to yourself, girls trips are dangerous to my marriage, then you got the wrong friends, or you're in the wrong marriage. Plain and simple. If you're sitting here thinking that girls trips are dangerous to your marriage, you either have the wrong friends or you're in the wrong marriage. I'm going to tell you straight up, because we don't have time to lose. You need to have a partner that is going to allow you to be independent of the marriage, to be able to have space to rejuvenate yourself. And if you don't, then we need to talk. And if you feel like you don't have the right friends to go on girls trips with, then we need to work together. We need to work on that. That is literally a relationship issue, not just because of the lack of friends, but relationship issue with yourself. Same goes for your marriage. If you're not in a marriage that embraces girls trips, we need to talk about your marriage. Okay? I want to help you do this work with you, because you can listen to this podcast episode all you want, take notes and have aha moments. But if you're not in a space to do the work or have guidance to do the work, you ain't going to move the needle. So what I need you to do is go to link in my bio on Instagram and book a sales call. Okay. I want to help you resolve the number one conflict in your relationship, whether it be in your marriage or conflict relationship with your friendships or conflict relationship with yourself, so that you can show up as a partner that you desire to be, or so that you can just be the person that you desire to be, that you feel God is calling you to be. You understand me? You can even go to my website, karinafdaves.com, and register and book a sales call there. Okay. We need to do this work together. It's serious. Okay. All right. Listen, let me pray for you. Father God, I thank you so much for this day. I thank you for the opportunity for us to commune together. I ask that in this very moment that you send us angels of support. So many of us feel like we don't have the right friends, or we don't have friends at all. I ask in this very moment that you replace the loneliness spirit that we feel with encouragement and hope, that people will come into our lives, that we should pray for them, that we will pray for them, that you will send the people necessary to guide us, and that you will also prune the people that don't belong there anymore. Lord, you are such a sovereign God, such a powerful God, and you move in ways that don't make sense to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. You sometimes take a long time and it is annoying. And I'm gonna be real with you. I'm stubborn, and as a child of God, I know my place and I know that you're God and I know that I'm your child, but I gotta be honest with you that sometimes it just takes a really long time. And I just ask in this very moment that for us that are waiting for the storm to pass, would you just give us an insight on what is happening, or even give us some hope that we just need to hold strong, some faith that we need to hold strong. Allow us to be more faithful. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, my name is Karina F. Daves. I'm a relationship expert, speaker, and podcast host of this dope podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, I want you to subscribe to it, share it with all of your amigos. And we actually have a little bit of time to answer a question. Here we go. So I'll keep it anonymous, but the question is, I'm married and love my wife and love my baby mama and can't choose between. Help me. Okay, that is that is interesting. So first of all, the question I have for you is, are you with both of them actively now? It's interesting because infidelity is is hard. And so the first step that I would say in helping choose is to stop the infidelity, is to stop the cheating. The second thing is to confess to both parties about what is happening. And step three, about choosing what needs to happen, that's something that is not going to depend on love, but is going to depend on your values. And again, I'm not judging you at all. I'm giving you very sober advice here. I also have a cheating series on my podcast. It's more for the person that was cheated on, but I still recommend listening to it as the cheater, because it will help you navigate this. And so, to the person that sent this question, I hope that answer helped. And I wish you the best. And if you want to work with me, I got you. All right. Listen, I love you so much. Happy 4th of July. I hope that you enjoy your time with your family, your time with your friends, your time with whomever, even with yourself. Okay. Again, my name is Karina F. Days. I'm a relationship expert, and I hope that you enjoy this episode on relationships you understand. Okay. I love you so much. Bye. If you're loving this podcast and enjoying the juicy relationship gems, then head over to follow me on my socials at Karina F. Daves on Instagram and TikTok. Head over to my website, Karina F. Daves, and subscribe to my newsletter, Release Your Relationship, where I share weekly relationship advice on how to overcome the #1 relationship issue. If you're really enjoying this podcast, don't forget to leave me a review on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode, and share it with all of your amigos. Reviews are such a personal way to hear your voice and interact with our community. Thanks so much for listening to the show, and can't wait to have you back again. I love you so much.